It is nothing like we thought it was. Now, I have this little thing that I do. If you get too close to something, you can get so caught up in it that you lose perspective. And I just say to people, take a deep breath, take a step back, look at it again. And you can start to see things you couldn't see before. Who do you think is going to win the presidency? Doesn't matter. So we have this thing in America, anyone can become president. Because that's why it's the land of the free. Well, anyone can become president as long as they've got the people that control the media and the money behind them. Anyone else? No chance. And now we've got a choice. It is said, I use the word choice, I stand back in amazement, between, it seems, these three people. All of them connected to the same network that I'm talking about tonight. All different masks on the same face, apparently offering choice. Barack Obama, he's talking about change. Change you can believe in. The person behind his campaign is Brzezinski, Zbigniew Brzezinski. This is the man who was the National Security Advisor to Jimmy Carter, who a couple of years or so ago came out publicly and admitted that he had led the Carter administration to manipulate and entice the Soviet Union into Afghanistan for the occupation that led to the war, millions of dead people, and came out the other side with the Taliban and all the other stuff. He is the man behind Barack Obama, who's talking about being against war. It's a scam. And people supporting that guy are going to be desperately disappointed if he makes it to the White House and what really he's there to do comes through. Because this is the point. We are watching on the television news and in the media in general, we are watching a movie. A movie to give us the impression that we have freedom, that we have choice, when there's one force behind the apparent different people in the movie. And it's the same, not just within countries, but between countries, where you have the same force manipulating apparently different countries to the same end. It's not some kind of miracle of coincidence that a Labour Prime Minister was hand in glove with a Democrat President Clinton, and then when they change over there, he becomes equally, if not more, connected to a far-right Republican president in George Bush. It's because Bush and Clinton are controlled by the same network. Blair, Brown, all of them are controlled by the same network, and so they work to a common aim. And these people are far more frightened of the network than they are of public opinion, which is why Blair went massively against public opinion and caused himself enormous grief in terms of his popularity, because that was more acceptable to him than going against the network. They say that Blair was a puppet of George Bush. The fact is, they're both puppets of a force that controls both of them. Same in this country. We have this, what we have is this sleight of hand. And it works like this. The greatest form of dictatorship is a dictatorship where the people think they are free, because they will not rebel against not being free when they think they are. You can talk about fascist dictatorships and communist dictatorships, but where you have a dictatorship that the people can see, touch and taste, where they understand the situation they're in, those kind of dictatorships have a finite life. It might take some time, but they have a finite life because the people know the situation and they can see who the controllers are. The greatest form of control is the prison without the bars, because people will sit there forever because they don't think they're in a prison cell. And one of the ways that they scam this is having two parties overwhelmingly in most countries, and they just keep changing them every now and again. And when the party is in government, it introduces the agenda for further and further centralization of power. The opposition party opposes it. Oh, we have choice. Then there's a farce called an election, and the two parties change sides. Now the party that was opposing centralization of power is in government, it's introducing it. The party that was introducing it in power is now opposing it. Oh, we have choice. The other thing they do is if they want a certain person in power, like they wanted Blair, and like they wanted Margaret Thatcher, then all they do is create mayhem in the opposing party, and people say, well, there's no choice, don't like him much, don't like him much, but what's the choice? How many times in the last 10 years did people say, well, I don't want to vote for Blair, but look at the Tories, they're a mess. So, where's the choice? That's how they scam it. And when Cameron comes in, it's Blair Mark II, under another name. And so in America, those people who are understanding it, they have this phrase, it doesn't matter who you vote for, the government still gets in. And when the government gets in, the agenda for centralization of power gets in. Politics may not be the oldest profession, but the results are the same. For the reason I'm talking about. Now, this is all possible because we have allowed ourselves, as human beings, to become a herd of unthinking sheep. We've been manipulated to be so, and only by acquiescing to it is it possible for the few to control the many. We're fed the movie constantly. I worked in journalism for years. You know what investigative journalism is today? It's watching the newsroom telly and reading the morning papers. This is what so many humans have allowed themselves to become. And when we do, when we acquiesce to the herd mentality, then the few can control the many. And it's happening on a bigger and bigger scale. I hear people, you know, they get caught in this movie about, oh, well, what, are we going to vote for him? And do you think it's going to, and what about Clinton? And what about Obama? And what about Brown? Do you think we vote for him? What's his policy on this? And it's like, deep breath, take a step back, look at it again. Oh, it's a piece of shit. Yeah, exactly. That's all it is. That's all it is. And when you start to realize that, the pennies start to drop, and you see that what is apparently, you thought before, random events, are actually coldly, calculatedly connected to lead us down this road to Orwell's state. Oscar Wilde said, most people are other people. Their thoughts are someone else's opinions, their lives are mimicry, their passions are quotation. All the time, we are repeating and seeing repeated what other people have said. And you hear things like, everyone knows that, mate. Well, I don't know that, so there's one less than everyone. We've made a start. How did you know that? Oh, well, I heard so-and-so told me. Repeating, repeating, repeating. Repeaters. And we repeated ourselves into a state of total acquiescence to the movie version of reality in vast numbers of people. We have teacher repeaters who take what they've